Hi, I'm Stuart. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching my video. In this video I'm going to give my reading wrap up for the week of September 1 through September 7th. I didn't complete any books this week, so I won't have any reviews. I read parts of 4 books, so I'll be talking briefly about those 4 books. And I borrowed books from Libby and Hoopla, 4 books in total. So I'll be talking about those books. I'll be talking about a Wobble I am working on and some other highlights of what's going on in my life. First I'm going to talk about the 4 books I'm currently reading. The first is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This is a book that I'm reading as part of a book club. I'm with a band book club on Fable, moderated by MJ, and it's also on Voxer, Agatha group read. I think I'm about 45% through the book, and I'm liking it a lot. I am definitely planning to read more books from her, and I'm glad I finally got an opportunity to start reading her books. The second book is A God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I'm reading this book as part of a Fable book club, Tiachu's book club, moderated by Tiachu. I'm probably about 40% into The God of the Woods. This book is quite interesting. I'm really enjoying it. It's told by multiple POVs and it's multiple different times. So it's a little bit difficult to keep track of everything that's going on, but I'm really liking it. The third book I read part of this week is The Middle Ages, A Graphic History by Eleanor Janega. This is kind of like a Middle Ages History 101 with some graphics, thus the graphic novel part of it. 48% in the 48% in The Middle Ages, A Graphic History. I am quite enjoying it. I'm not sure how much I'm going to take away from it, but I am learning stuff. Difficulty is I have to read it on my laptop. It doesn't work in my Nook, which is kind of frustrating, but it is interesting. The fourth book I want to talk about is Ruinsong by Ember. I'm listening to the audiobook. I'm about 25% in. I am enjoying the book, but it's a very dark world. The country that the story is based on is ruled by a very tyrannical queen, and calling her tyrannical is maybe an understatement to how cruel she is. So it is very dark. Next I want to talk about 4 books that I recently borrowed from Hoopla and Libby. The first is Cymbeline by William Shakespeare. This is a book I borrowed from Hoopla. I'm reading this book as part of Shakespeare, which is a September readathon, which is co-hosted by Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading. This is the only thing I'm going to do for it, but I haven't read Shakespeare since I was back in school. The only one I remember is The Merchant of Venice. We probably read Romeo and Juliet, but I don't remember specifically, so this one just was interesting because I never heard of it before, and I know nothing about it. The second book I borrowed from Hoopla is The Murder at the Vicarage by Agatha Christie. Got the idea of this book from a recent video by Pat at Book Chat with Pat 8668. This is a Miss Marple mystery, and Pat is a big fan of Miss Marple. I read a lot of Hercule Poirot in my youth and a little bit more recently, but to my memory I've never read a Miss Marple book, so that's going to be interesting, seeing what I think of it. Another book I borrowed recently is The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. Actually I had borrowed it before and I had to return it because I couldn't finish it, and it had a real long wait before I got it back. I'm about 65% through it. And for those who know the Britney Spears story, I'm just at the point where she gets assigned, not sure the right word for it, but a conservative run by her father runs her affairs. A quite notorious one. Second book I got from Libby is Mrs. Nash's Ashes by Sarah Adler. This is a book I learned from on a video by tiachu. And I put a hold on this a while back and it finally came through. So these 4 books I have to read pretty quickly, especially the Hoopla ones, because the way Hoopla works is that they charge $5 to the library for each book that's borrowed. And I don't even know if they allow renewals, but I wouldn't want to do it anyway because I wouldn't want to make them pay an extra $5. Libby ones I'm going to try to read too, but if I have to return them, I'll just put another hold on it and read it when they come. And next I want to talk about the Wobble I'm working on. It's Powderpuff Girl Blossom. Here's where I am right now. This is completed the body, completed and added the hair. And I'm mostly through with a ponytail. I have to just do one more row and then attach the ponytail. And then the final thing is doing a bow, which you can see from here. It's possible I'll complete it today, more likely tomorrow, probably, or the next day. But if I do complete it today, I will include a photo of it after this segment where I'm talking about it. Next, I just want to talk about the events of this past week for me. Next, I just want to talk about a couple of medical appointments I had this past week. I know this may not be everybody's taste, so I will put some text at the bottom of the screen, so if you wanted, you could skip this portion of it. But I kind of like to let people know what's going on in my life. This past Tuesday, I got a blood test, a cholesterol blood test, and that was preparatory to a appointment I had Friday with my cardiologist. Back last October, my primary care doctor suggested I get a calcium screening test, and he was confident that the level would be about 200. A level of 400 or above indicates potential serious issue. So I did get the screening test, and unfortunately it came back like way above 400. It was 1349. The high is 4,000, but the indication was that I had severe coronary artery disease, so I got sent to a cardiologist, and he prescribed a Mediterranean diet, which is pretty stringent, and an additional medication beyond what I was taking. And at another appointment with him back in February, and the goal was to get the LDL down. The LDL cholesterol was, I think, around 150, and it was down to 79, but he wanted it below 50, or ideally below 40. So he prescribed a injectable cholesterol medication in addition to the others. So in the appointment I went Friday, the LDL was down to 19, which he said was fantastic. And I'm going to be able to stop taking one of the cholesterol medications I'm taking. And he had me do a stress test last December. That came out well, and I don't need to do another one unless there's additional problems. So basically, I can continue doing what I'm doing, which I was kind of happy with that, because I was pretty... When you get a report that says you got severe coronary artery disease, it's kind of scary. Another thing this week is I got my hair cut and colored. Came out really well. The only music I believe I listened to this week, besides on the radio when I'm driving around, was listen to a lot of Metallica songs when I was walking at the mall. I listen to them a lot anyway, but that's partly because of the other series I'm doing on this channel, my musical journey. I did release the second part of my 80s musical journey, the heavy music, and so that's out there. And I also did a tag video, which I released yesterday. Other than that, been watching some WNBA games, watching a lot of YouTube videos. I'd be interested in knowing how your reading week went. If you'd like to let me know, please reply in the comments. or anything else like music you're listening to or other things of interest you're doing right now. I'd be interested in hearing about that too. I hope you have a wonderful reading week, and I hope you have a wonderful week in general. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, please subscribe, please hit the bell to get notified when I upload future videos.